sign. Yeah, that's about the only thing that keep me cool, man. Word. Seeing Esau fall.
To watch the other part video, you see that King in UK.
Oh yeah. Digital
Yeah, speaking of how they finna make the whole world go into
fall. Yeah. That kind.
right at the door, right at the door. Definitely gonna get hard on them. Man, y'all about to see how Shadow but sister man towards the end. Now you gonna put so much stress on you, see you gonna tap out.
Bro, you gotta be tried. You gotta be tried.
I said to him, thank you, good, thank you. Thank you. Straight Revelation 3, you said the black hole for you. Goes into the verse, which
But like every Thursday, yeah. Like if you're thinking of more and more.
yeah.
Chick feet.
I don't know what happened to my hotspot. I was on it earlier.
Oh man.
Yeah, that boy, like, they don't even, I gotta check to see if I need to have a place or.
Hopefully the brothers gonna comment, boy. They had to know. Drop some free service. Yeah, shit, people. All right. Shalom, shalom. Keepers of sheep back on the highways and byways. Back on the highways and byways, prophesying downfall of America, aka Babylon the Great. We are the Hebrew Israelites prophesying to the Hebrew Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, before we begin, but first start off by giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, Shalom, and Shalom to the hopeful elect.
Shalom, shalom.
All right, today's camp title will be Two is Better Than One at This Time. All right, and of course, today's camp is inspired through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua. All right, but just want to touch on how basically, through the spirit, all right, the Lord is gathering the elect. All right. The Lord, as a matter of fact, if you want to grab that Simon Peter, Satan has desired to sift. All right, so there is a sifting going on. All right. So as prophecy is is being fulfilled, all right, prophecy going out through the earth, all right, the elect and the non-elect is being sifted. Okay. So you're gonna see brothers go through the same brothers gonna have the same story. All right, brothers gonna have the same testimony. All right, those of the elect are gonna have the same testimony, and those of third are gonna have the same testimony, right?
This is Luke chapter 22, and starting at verse, starting at, actually, I started verse 28. It says, ye are they which have continued with me in my temptations, and I appoint unto you a kingdom as my father has appointed unto me. This is how Shah talking to us in red. It says that you may eat and drink at my table in the kingdom and sit on the throne judging the 12 tribes of Israel, right? Like, facing those temptations, facing those afflictions that we're appointed to go through, as the scripture said, right? It says verse 31, point, it says, and the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. He said, but I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not. And like the brother saying, the ones who like the elect, you know, I just speak on this a little bit, we're gonna face those afflictions, right? You're gonna face that chastity, how about y'all shop? Because what he say, then shall we know who am I chosen, right? You're gonna go, they're gonna be tried as gold to try, they can go through a lot of affliction, a lot of pain, a lot of sorrow, a lot of hardship, right? But how should I say, I pray your faith fail not. Because Satan trying to get you, that you got the spiritual demon of doubt, you got the physical sons and daughters of Satan, you saw, right? So-called white man running around here torturing, doing all these things, but you're gonna bring Greek insurrection on those who fear the Lord, right? So during these times, you're gonna have brothers facing it here, facing it there, but you ain't got nothing to grab.
Now, Revelation 3:10, just to back you up.
Come.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 10. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. All right, so basically, just to back the brother up, man, the elect is going to go through the same temptations. All right, if you are the elect, all right, you're gonna have the same temptation that what the scripture says, no temptation have take you, such as common to man. All right, but only the elect is gonna endure. Only the elect is allotted to be kept. Only the elect are the ones written in the book of life. All right.
So I got this quick precept right here as well. Right, this is First Peter 5, right, in verse 9. Right, it says, "Whom resist?" Well, I start verse 8. It says, "Be sober and be vigilant, be vigilant, right? Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walking about seeking who he may devour." Right, and at this point, like Satan's trying to sift you, he's trying to get you, so he gonna get you in all the pressure points that he know your flesh or your flesh try to it's easy to get you in, for lack of better words. Right, he gonna come at you with hardship with pain. Like bro, just speaking on it, try to pile up a lot of things on you, and but also we know right through the spirit of power, how about you shot it what these things were appointed to us. These things were going to come. These things were meant to face come against us. Remember, how about you shot Satan works for you, Heavenly Father. He let Satan try.
Job.
Yeah, no, he sent. So you got
And just to back you up,
Uh-huh.
and see, this is why it's really only about the elect. All right, Esau, of course, Esau want 2/3. All right, but Esau's main goal is to get the elect, man. All right, because if Esau can obtain the elect, all right, like you said with the account with Job, that's why the Lord said try Job. All right, because again, it's about the elect. So if Satan get you, all right, he can make the Most High what a liar, or he can he can alter prophecy, but that's not the case, man.
case, right? As you're gonna read, speaking of Job, right? It says, "Whom resist steadfast in the faith," right? Because who resist, say it, who resist. When he try to come against, try to pull you away, you resist. You push that away, right? It says, "Whom resist steadfast in the faith." Point right here says, "Knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world." Right? For these same afflictions, that's why things that were written before time give us hope. Right? The count with Job, right? He went through these things and he showed us went through his integrity in the faith. Right? He held on, right? He's an honorable man. How about y'all shot? Even when Satan brought all that, when how about y'all shot allowed Satan. That's what Jake gotta understand as well, man. Satan only can do, but how about y'all shall allow. Right? I'm gonna read the precept that the brother put. You quoted it earlier as well, 1 Corinthians 10.
And quick point. And see, when you read precepts like that, it shows you the Lord is showing you mercy by allowing brothers to go through the same thing. All right, and that way you can relate. That's why Scripture said, roughly paraphrasing, these things were written aforetime for our learning. All right, they might give us hope, man. So if you see it, our forefathers go through the same thing, and what the Lord said, roughly paraphrasing, uh, have he failed? All right, have he failed any of our forefathers? Did he not keep his word? Right?
I'm gonna read this real fast. I got another quick precept. It says 1 Corinthians 10:13. It says, "There have no temptation taking you, but such as coming to man." Right? It ain't nothing we go through, ain't nothing we face that ain't known to man. Ain't nothing we gonna face that we can't overcome. Right? It says, "But Yahweh is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able." Right? So this is that sifting process. Most of you going through that trial and tribulation, going through that hardship, going through that pain. Right? Yep. Jake like to have that why me spirit, right? Because they don't understand that they being tempted of you. How about y'all shot? They try to get everybody to feel sorry for them, feel want to get everybody to, oh man, I got it, man, y'all boys know. Nah, man. Right? This is what's building us up into the righteous men. How about y'all shot? These afflictions, these hardships, this pain. Right? So it's building us up. How you think how shot sitting on the right hand side of the Father? Because he went through the pain and suffered the hardship. Right? It would build you up to that, it builds you up to that spiritual man. Right? And these things molds you into that man so you can be a righteous ruler in the kingdom. Right? If you running from these things now, what type of man will you how about you let rule his kingdom if you scared to face affliction down here? If you scared to if you run away from problems, right? When things hit you, you turn when things hit you in a bad sense, right? You resort to any other type of way to get through it except resort to how about you shot.
Scripture said, "Count and joy."
Con. That's the point of us going through this because it's to mold us to the righteous man. Because for so long, Jake has been going through sorrow, captivity, and every time you do it, Jake that spiritual fornication. Jake try his best to go serve other idol, do all this and that to make things easier for him. Right?
It's a sickness, it's a disease.
It's a disease.
Sick,
Real.
man.
Jake don't know. See, Jake out here, they run around tough with guns. They run around tough with, man, these guys are soft. Cause soon as you tell them they wrong, or soon as you tell them to tighten up in their way, right? They ready to whine out, but shoot at you, right? Oh, he tried me, he playing me, bro. He playing. No, man. Right, this is what we've been to go through. Rocking this bitch up to real man. Elder Pastor Roger said this earlier, man. He was speaking of the dude from IUIC, the leader, but he said something, that stuck with me. He
Bishop
said,
Daniel.
the Bishop Daniel, right? He was speaking on how, now he's trying to speak about MOTB and shit, but he used to reject it, right? But he was like, he won't come out and say it. He was like, that's a sorrowful soul. He said that's a sorrowful soul, something for a man not to be able to stand up and admit his wrongs, right? And that's what we do through the spirit. That's why we face these challenges, faces hardship. It's not unjust. We're not perfect. We know that. We know Yahweh outside judgments are just, right? So when we go through these things, it's because why? Yahweh building us up. Because the times we slip and we fall, yeah, judgment come upon us. But we supposed to go against the Most High. Even Job, Most High said Job was a righteous man. Job still went through these things, right?
Jay don't understand balance. And see, like you said, mentioning Job. Job said what? He said the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. All right, so Job understood the balance. All right, he understood that the Lord does what? Both good and evil, man. All right, Jake think if everything's going good in his life, then he's doing good. That's not the case, man. You could be doing everything according to scripture and be going through the worst thing, right?
And that's just made me think of First Ezra's, the end of chapter 6, when Ezra's crying out, he said, well, we supposed the world made for our sakes, we supposed to have all these things. Why are we put low? Why are we down here? Right? Then you go to chapter 7, the Most High got the angel Uri, he's showing Ezra's, look, basically telling him, like, look, beforehand, y'all had it good. Remember, paradise, right? This is Eden, right? The pleasure of men. We supposed to have everything. We was made immortal, right? But that free will, that lust, right? You wasn't built up. You didn't know unrighteousness yet, right? So now you learn it. Now you can be a proper God. Now I want to see who's gonna choose that path, right? Because you had that free will in a sense, right? How you want to put it, right? The world's made for us. Say it's for us to dress and keep it. The world's pleasant to men, but that when we had it that way, men went off, right? Because it was easy tempted. That's why Yahushua said, you have to continue with me in my temptation. So now we're tempted. Guess what? We know that spiritual demon doubt, that tempt, they're gonna try to get us, right? But now we know that righteous path is what? To stay focused on the will, stay focused on the purpose of what? We faith, what we set to go through.
I got a precept.
Kind of.
Precept is the back here. It's the book of 2 Timothy, and I'll start at verse 1. It says, the title is Be Strong. It says, thou therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Yahweh Shah Mashiach. And the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also. All right, so a lot of times we go through things in life. Why? To teach other brothers lessons. All right, that's why brothers can have these lessons. All right, our lesson on exhortation on about staying strong, keeping the faith. All right, why? Because that brother he's been tried. All right, he's been in situations where he had to keep the faith. Right. Verse 3 it says. No, verse 2, no, verse 3 says, thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahweh Shah Mashiach. So we have to endure hardness, man. I mean, it's really not going to be easy, right? And you're a fool to think that this thing is going to be easy, right?
You're a fool to think it'll be easy, but that's how Jake wanted, though. That's how Jake wanted. That's why, the righteous men, Yahweh, speaking that sympathy process, that's why Yahweh Shah separates those righteous men from these guys. Right? That's why he said, can two walk together lest they be agreed? Yahweh has to separate the righteous men because that mindset of Jake, that energy of Jake, it's wicked. It's going off, right? As men in this world, we taught that if someone tell you something wrong, or if you don't like it, that's what we taught. But this is the narrative of the men in this world today, right? When we go through hardship, going through pain, guess what? We're gonna try to find any way to get out of it, whether that's wickedness, whether I got to rob, steal, by any means necessary. That's the word. That's the literally saying they put out to the world by any means necessary.
And see, just to make a point, that's why so many are going to take the mark. That's why so many are going to take the MOTB, man. Because Jake going to be looking for a way out, man. Jake, you got to understand, Esau has put everything on the platter for Jake. All right, like you said, everything to comfort your emotions. All right, your fetishes, your desires, your addictions. All right, everything. But when he finally cut the water, because as you can see, man, it's not looking good. Gas prices are going up. Of course, food inflations. And what the scripture says, because iniquity shall abound, the love of me shall wax cold, man. The Jake can't even, you can't even find love out here no more. So what you gonna do when everything you have no choice but take MOTB, right?
And then Esau was so smart with it. He set up ways to where you could smoke. Smoke is supposed to be a relaxant. They make weed medicated, right? They make all these, and it gives Jake in that avenue. You hear all these rappers say, what all these rappers talk about? Man, I take pills for my pain. I drink lean for my pain. I do this and that for my pain, right? But that you understood, hey, we supposed to go through these suffering. We supposed to go through hardships. We supposed to. These are the righteous men. How about y'all wrote these things down so when they come to us, we don't lose the faith. We don't waste our so faith fail not because many brothers, even Yahushua done went through this. They done faced this. Go back to the hand, two are greater than one these times, right? Because you have, like the brother mentioned earlier, you have across the world that brothers done face these things, right? Brothers done face these things. Guess what? Them keeping that faith to the end, what got them through it. See those ones who keep their faith to the end, what they end up doing? They end up tapping out in many type of ways, right? Resorting to drugs, becoming a junkie, right? Some take their stuff out with any type of way with things that I don't want to say too much, but many tap out in a sense, right?
Yeah, like you said, even mentioning Yahushua, man, you understand Yahushua was mad at Peter and them when they fell asleep, right? So he was like, damn, he was like, y'all don't feel asleep with me twice, y'all couldn't stay up. So just imagine the world you going through something, but you can't even you can't tell nobody, or you look up they sleep on you because they don't get it, right?
Mhm.
So even like you said, the Lord went through it, man.
Brother put a precept Matthew 24:13. He that doing to the end, the saints shall be saved. That's what people. That's what, and that scripture so heavy because people don't really understand, right? See, things are that precept in Luke. I want to say is Luke chapter 22 might be no Luke chapter 30. It wasn't his chapter Luke. I quote the scripture for the Lord, right? But he said, when you do this in the green, I wonder what you're gonna do in the drop, right? Jake's so panicking and so stressed out right now. What are you gonna do when Esau mandate that chip? You can't eat, so you can't do nothing if you don't got that chip. You can't work, you can't get no money, you can't do nothing if you got no chip. There's no food around, there's no nothing around. You can't if you ain't got that chip in your hand, right? What Jake gonna do? Jake gonna panic and take the chip. Like we said earlier, by any means necessary. But he don't understand that enduring the sufferings, the pain, the hardship, right? That's what's gonna allow you to overcome, right? Against this place. Right? It's gonna allow you to overcome and beat this devil, right?
How you doing? I like the colors.
Yeah. Thank you.
God bless you.
You too.
Go to the lounge to listen to music. God bless you.
Okay, that's my okay, it's like, hey, even when you look at family, man, you see how even with testimony and shit, like you see how even family can they lose that faith, lose their way to resort to the mechanism. Esau, you don't told them to run to these drugs, these churches, but none of that's gonna save you, bro. None of it's gonna save you. Right? When you try to tap out, when you try to tap out, when you try to tap out and account things for yourself, try to take matters in your own hand, guess what you do? You go astray, you go off bad. Right? Then you get to the point to where how about y'all just give you over to that left. He give you over to that way. He let Satan have it because Satan come to try you each and every way. As soon as he get you to give in, guess what? Hey, you gone. Right? You can't look into you how about y'all say like, no, I couldn't hang on no more. What you mean you couldn't hang on no more? Yeah, I was on the cross pit. Every pierced his hand. Look at Joel. He said it was putting boils on his skin, man. Right? And he still kept the integrity. He still kept the faith he had by Shion shot. But let Jake rent can't come up for he can make rent for a month. Right? But
not even that. Like you said, let Jake can't find his drugs. Let Jake can't get high.
Come on, man. Right? Jake ready to crash out. Jake ready to go rob, still do all these things. That's why in Proverbs chapter 30, it say, well, I don't want to get too high, I don't want to get too low. Once that just balance, I take the Lord's name in vain. That's why also that scripture, I grab it, right? It also goes to that thorn in the flesh. That's why we have that thorn in the flesh to keep us at that balance. To make you don't think if shit was all pretty grass and green, Jake could do the same thing he was doing back then, going against you. How about you?
And see, good point. Cause that's a good point. You said dealing with this flesh, man. Ultimately, Jake don't want to hurt the flesh. All right, Jake don't want to suffer, man. But like you said, dealing with Paul when he had that thorn in his flesh, dealing with Job. Job literally felt that. All right, the Lord, he literally felt that. All right, but you have to understand, we don't serve the flesh, we serve the spirit, man.
Right in 2 Corinthians 12, right? And right, starting at verse 7. Right, I'll read it real fast. The brother put this up, Matthew 17:17, right? I started at verse 15, brother Hadabiah, right? It says, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is a lunatic and sore vexed, for oftentimes he falls into the fire and into water. I besought him, I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him. Right? So this man coming up to Yahushua, tell him to heal his son, right? He said, then Yahushua answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? bring him either to me, right? Because these guys don't have no faith, right? These guys are he's calling them faithless, man. A lot of Jake is faithless, right? A lot of Jake only believe in the money, guns, and the things he see, right? But they temporary. So now when these things run out, Jake try to resort to the next mechanism to try to get off, right? It says he how shall rebuke the devil, he departed out of him, and the child was cured from that hour. Then came to the disciples, but then came the disciples to Yahushua apart and said, why could not we cast him out? And Yahushua said to them, because of your unbelief. For I better say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of a mustard seed, man. You gotta have faith to grain of mustard seed. You gotta have even a little bit of faith. They said, oh yeah, a little faith, right? You can believe in Yahushua, and that's how Jake don't even got this much faith in Yahushua. That's why I want to talk. Oh,
Now I was just gonna say, Jake don't even consider.
he don't even
Jake-
consider. My people do not even consider it, right? But when real times hit, when real time, well, I'm talking about Esau, he coming through slang, he coming through because they don't even understand how Esau finna crank up. Right? They don't even understand that. Right? They looking at the gas prices and those things were the most I just showing you,
And
right?
just to back you up, but that just shows you Jake mindset. Jake mindset is fully trusted into what? Into Egypt, into Babylon the Great. And that's why the Lord said in Isaiah 30, most of them they're trusted in Egypt. Because like you said, man, Jake's on you have a little faith. Okay, man, maybe God is gonna save us. Maybe everything might be all right. All right, maybe we are the Israelite. Jake mind is fully set on what America can offer. All right, what Esau can show you. All right, like you said, faith, man. Because Jake God what he can see, right? And if you can see it, you don't need faith, right?
Yeah, what Paul said, you know what why would you have faith in something that you can see, or what you just said? Paul said that, what a man gonna hope for the things he's seen. That's what he said, really paraphrasing, right? Because you see these things going around. It's like, I said, you believe in these things because there's many. You see the cars, you see the jobs, you see the money around, so you think these things can save you or deliver you. Like the dude Yaki, he gonna know. That's a perfect example of it, man. They have no faith in Yahweh. They minimize the power of Yahweh. But don't even understand that Yahweh is allowing these afflictions to come upon us. Right? But when you fall away, when you give in on yourself, when you quit, that's on you. Right? Because as Yahushua told them to finish this Matthew 17 and 20, it says Yahushua said to them, because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, that's what he tells them. If you believe even a little bit, right? He said, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Right? See, they don't even got Yahweh on their side because they don't even know Yahweh. They don't know his name, right? They don't even know him, right? So how can Yahweh deliver you or say you sleep? You're dead. How can he hear your prayers if you're dead? You sleep, man. Right? But we trying to tell you to wake up, and these sufferings and pains you're going through, right? These are meant for you. These are meant for you. This what we meant to face. This what we meant to go through. There's plenty of accounts. Paul was big on. I got an account in Second Thessalonians. I'm gonna read. I also want to read this as well. That going through that thorn in the flesh being got now. Right, Con. This Second Corinthians chapter 12, starting at verse 7. Right? It said, unless I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelation, right? Because Jake want to be high. He see Esau living this lavish life, this good life, right? He see Esau with the big house, and the big yard, kids run around happy free. He feel like he need to be above what he is, right? Jake feel like everything's supposed to be good for him. So why? So like brother put on earlier, man. What's not me, man? Why I can't have a good life? Why I can't have this? Why I can't have that? Right? It said that unless I should be exalted above measure of the abundance of revelation, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, right? To buffet you, right? So when you thinking you on that pet, what the most I do? Hump you, right? But also when he hump you, guess what? A blessing come right on back on that. But a lot of these Jake, right? A lot of these Jake, like even going to the time we came into captivity, right? A lot of these Jake sorrow when afflictions and sorrow hit them, right? What they do? They run away. Like, hold on, I don't know what to do. Right? When all you gotta do is stand there. Remember how about I said, when they're brought to a Lord's state, take it cheerfully. But they don't got the faith to believe you. How about when these things come, they quit. They give up. Right? It said, lest I should be exalted above measure. It said, for this thing I besought the Lord thrice that it might depart from me. And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Man. So the things you're weak in, Satan gonna try to just imagine, man. If you trying to bench, if you had a strong guy and bench, right? So when you go to the gym every day, is you not just gonna go to the bench? Are you not just gonna bench? You've been going to the gym for a whole year, you never bench press just because you're not strong in bench. No, You know that's one of your weaknesses, right? So you go in there each and every day, you gonna build yourself up to work, build yourself up. Do other workouts so now you finally attain a bench press max, things that such. Same thing we do in the faith, right? Yes, Satan trying to buffet us, Satan trying to get us in our weaknesses. This is what we do. All right, fast to those things, right? You know, put those things aside, right? Whether it is whatever you facing, right? You know, if you know going to work getting heavy, that's what we do. You know, all right, but let me go ahead and just realize, okay, it's good, right? Let me go ahead and realize, you know, this what you how about how shot sent me to go through. At the end of the day, it's the grace, because ultimately I could have nothing. See, Jake want to think you got to be content. Jake ain't supposed to have too much. I could have nothing. That's why he said that Satan that above you to let you get exalted above measure. Let me realize I'm blessed to even be here to even have this job. Let me realize I'm blessed to even drive this car. Let me realize I'm blessed to even have this house. You know, you can see Jake. Jake is in a we were brought to a low stature. You know, you know we could really have nothing, but how about y'all bless us with something, right? He said, Hadabir said, so boiled out to the point they think they can actually save themselves, right? Because the money, the liberty, the ways that Esau has set it up, right? They thinking that he has really Esau think he's a guy because why? He has the money. He has the money to control everything. These top banking families, and these elites, they have the money to control the whole world. You know, money runs this place, right? So
I got research.
okay,
This is I started at verse 3. This is 2 Corinthians 4 and verse 3. It says, "But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, least the light of the glorious gospel of Hamashiach, who is the image of God, should shine unto them." So again, just to back the brother up, ultimately the Most High has blinded, all right, 2/3 of our people, and he blinded their minds with what? With the cares of this world, right? He blinded them with the treasures of this world, all right, fast money, all right, being able to, go get scholarships or whatever, go to school, do whatever it may be, all right. He blinded them with a thought of a kingdom here, man, all right. You got something?
yeah, cause I got this right here, 2 Thessalonians 3. I was gonna start at verse 1, reading
Okay.
down to around about verse like verse 5 to 6, right? Second Thessalonians 3, right? Because this when Paul writing this letter, right? You know, he writing this letter to the Israelites, right? He's sending it to Timothy, right? So I started verse 1, right? He says, "Finally, dear brothers and sisters, we ask you to pray for us. Pray that the Lord, pray that the Lord Yahweh's message, right, will spread rapidly and be honored wherever it goes, just as when it came to you. Said, pray too that we will be rescued from the wicked and evil people, for not everyone is a believer, right? 'Cause, these people was come against Paul, and they was ready to kill Paul. They killed the prophets. He had these men when we teach them the truth, teaching the word, like, man, look how crazy they sound. They on the highways, byways telling us we supposed to suffer, bro. They telling us we don't supposed to be worried about getting rich, getting money. You crazy? What you supposed to have? We supposed to get money, bro. What else we gonna do? This the mindset of Jake for real, right? You gotta think. Most I said such some of you. We was even blind to that at one point. And I gotta get rich. I'm talking about this house. I'm gonna own this. I'm gonna have my whole family. I'm gonna buy a whole neighborhood. Man, man, come on, man. Right?
Like you said, man, even as a child, you gotta remember, like, even when we was kids, like you said, everybody dream is to play basketball, play football. I'm about mama mansion, about me a mansion.
Yeah.
Because it's what when you jump on TV, it's what you see MTV Cribs.
Come on now.
You see LeBron, you see everybody.
Lavish lifestyle. You see all of it in it. See, Esau got that. He got that program, and he put this stuff in front of your face, like you said. And the Most High, see, when we woken up through the Spirit, we realized how deceiving, how we looking at it like, boy, Esau, boy, you a smooth fool, boy. You're a real snake. Like, we see how you had me so caught up thinking, like, man, I gotta go to the NFL. I gotta go to the NBA, right? If I don't, I gotta go back to the hood and do what they like. It's really to the point where Jake really thinking this is what he has to do. But he don't even understand the purpose of us to put here is what to repent and turn back. That's nowhere in the thought of Jake. This is what I just said. Jake said, I gotta go to the NBA. If I don't go to the NBA, I gotta go back to the hood.
When the young Jesus say, trap or die.
Come on.
When the 50 Cent say, get rich or die trying.
See what I'm saying? So and no thought, it's no thought, no type of way where it says, well, I need to pray. Well, I need to keep,
No worry, see, Jake don't rip. Jake praise these men, right? These are Jake idols, man.
Right? Well, I continue reading, right? It says, verse 2 again. I read verse 2.
And just to add on, like I said, these being the men that Jake praised. All right, we being of that hopeful elect, we praise who? Yeah, how about Yahweh Shai? All right, we want to be like Yahweh Shai. All right, what does Scripture say? Is a servant not greater than his master? All right, so we look to suffer, right?
I got a precept. Got that points back it up. This sounds like. At least I was trying to listen to it. I ain't trying to figure out. Yeah,
Definitely.
What is Romans 8, and 17, precept to back you up, right? He says, that's verse 16. He said, the spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of Yahweh, right? It says, if children, then heirs, heirs of Yahweh, and joint heirs with Yahweh Shah, right? Go back to that Luke, what he said, you have continued my temptation, I'll point you to the kingdom, Father pointing to me, right? He said, if so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together, right? And if you ain't got no, you got it, First Peter chapter 4, think not is strange, right? Because understanding that, like the brother just said, we set our path, we mark our path at the how shot art and finished by faith. Him keeping that faith to the end, that's what he doing. Sitting on the right hand side of the Father, right? In Philippians 2, it tell you that's why his name is exalted above
God.
all the names upon the earth, right? And Philippians 2 and 5, one precept I always think about, right? Let this mind be in you. Mind who? Mind how about shot. No matter what I gotta face, know what I gotta go through, what Yahweh Shai say. Yahweh Shai when he prayed 3 times, what he say, hey, hey, Father, if this cup cannot pass me, that thy will be done. He ain't never say, you can choose somebody else, man.
And see, just to back you up, Yahweh Shai was one of the first men to understand that you had to suffer. All right, because he didn't understand it as a right. That's why that's why he was deceived by Eve. He didn't understand it as Solomon. That's why he went off then. So it's like as Yahweh Shai, he was like one of the first men to really understand that you have to suffer. All right, you gotta endure this thing.
And a lot of people, don't get me wrong, like we never face a hardship, with going through, like money problems. Yeah, we facing those things. We gotta understand things as well. Like with Solomon, Solomon had everything. Solomon wasn't poor. Solomon had everything. What was right? He didn't know how to suffer, what to fast, to put off that lust to go chase after these women, to turn his heart away. Right? It wasn't the fact. It wasn't the women. It wasn't the fact he had all these wives. Just that what he wouldn't keep the faith. He didn't understand the suffering. Like, nah, I ain't gotta please these women. And man, you know what I mean, right? When you had that, you be around a woman that lust for flesh, right? You might not need to be with this woman, but that flesh pulling you to like, man, why? I gotta do it tonight. I gotta be with her tonight. I gotta lay down with right? Knowing you had to fast in the faith, right? You need to fast. You feel me? But Yahweh Shah put all that aside from all of it, right? And kept the faith and focus on the will to stay focused, right? I'm gonna read this real fast. Hebrews 12 and 2, right? It says, looking unto Yahweh Shah, the author and finisher of our faith, right? Because like the brothers was mentioning, Yahweh Shah, he the first one who came and showed us that, look, all I'm focusing on was the will of the Father. And then guess what? Everything else gonna be added in Matthew 6 and 33. Everything else was added to me. Then I focus on the righteous. I focus on the righteous and doing the will. That's why he said, look, that's why he said, by the fact continue read says in this verse, right? It says, for the joy that was set before him, right? For the joy that was set before him, what? The kingdom, right? No being rule, Lord of Lord, King of Kings, right? For the joy that was set in front of him, right? It says, for the joy that was set in front of him, endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down the right hand of the throne of Yahweh. We would look shameful to really turn it down, right? Esau trying to offer us money, or you crazy, man, fuck, man, you could went to the fair, you don't want to go back to school, you don't want to do that, you don't want to do this. Wow, you crazy. But they don't understand none of that is for us, right? So we just okay, it's cool, right? I understand you wouldn't get it. I understand you want me and the brother had that girl, we talk about this a lot, Well, we was talking about this past weekend. It be a lot of people be trying to. Oh, you don't come, you don't supposed to how they supposed to do that, man. Nah, we despise it and say we look past it, right? Because Howard Shine look past all of it when he could have been down here overly. How do you say the word overly popular? Yeah, I'm trying with that. Yeah, he could have been down here overly popular,
but he did. And Solomon, he had that.
He had that.
And you gotta remember when the Lord told Solomon he can have anything you want. What was the first thing Solomon asked for? That was wisdom, man. All right, so Solomon, he was on the right track, man. But you gotta understand, again, man's going is of the Lord. All right, so 2/3 ultimately, it's really it's the elder apostle football always said, man. But it's like it's a necessary evil. All right, so 2/3 must go off. We had to fall. We had to make mistakes. All right, even in our past life, even this current life, we have to mess up, and we go continue to mess up into the kingdom. That's why we have what? We have repentance. All right, that's why we have the Lord, man.
I want to find this precept real fast. Speaking of
How do you want that First Peter?
yeah, come, man. You can read that. Starting at verse 11.
This is First Peter chapter 4, verse 11, and it reads, "If any man speak," so lock it from the top. Verse 11, "If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of God. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which God giveth. And that God,
No,
it says, if any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which God giveth. That God in all things may be glorified with Mashiach Yahweh Shah, to whom be praise and dominion and forever and ever. Amen."
That's the point of first oracles, right? First oracles giving glory to Yahweh Shah in everything we do, even the suffering and pain and hardship we face, right? You know, because brothers from earlier know how understanding what that's Lord chastity, right? As sons, we're gonna get chastised. Lord's gonna correct us. We're gonna bring afflictions upon us. The correct us and see how we gonna respond, right? You know, you put when your child is wrong, you put him in timeout, right? You know, you put him in timeout, right? Because why? You love him. Why you want him to do right? You want him to be on point. You want him to know that's wrong, right? So when these things are going through, even the suffering, pains, and hardship, guess what? That's the first oracle. Everything we do, we give glory to you. How about y'all shot? That's the whole purpose of the will.
John, verse 12. In the title of this portion, it says, "Share the sufferings of Hamashiach." This is verse 12. It says, "Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial, which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you."
That's that fiery trial. What is that? The suffering, the pain, the hardship, right? You know, the suffering, the pain, the hardship, right? Us going through all type of things, right? That fiery trial, right? You know, things you how shot face, right? How shot went through hardship, pain, and suffering. So they don't think it's strange. It's the fiery trial to see who gonna hang on. You know, we just read Hebrews 12:2. Y'all have to finish by faith. Are we looking? We walk out past how we shot. So therefore, when the things that he go through, we gonna have that fiery trial as well. To see who's gonna what, who gonna give up, who gonna tap out, who gonna quit. You know, who gonna curse the most out? What Satan thought Job was gonna do when he brought that fiery trial upon Job? He thought he was gonna curse the most out. He thought it was gonna be like, man, what's up, man? I ain't serving God. I'm gonna find a way to make it smooth for me.
And see, a lot of times, first it says, "Beloved, think it not strange." All right, because a lot of times you'll be wet. Most I have you well out, or he won't have you, but you'll be comfortable. All right, but again, the most I have to try you, man. He'll let you be comfortable for a while, just to show you that, hey, again, I give it and I take it away, man.
So I want to read this real fast. We're speaking on Solomon. Like when I get back to the second testimony, but I want to read this real quick. We're speaking on, how understand it, just showing you how how he's speaking like title at hand, two are greater than one of these times, because two men of Yahweh Shah shot, right? Standing in that faith, standing strong, right? But understanding, like the brother mentioned earlier, Yahweh Shah had to get it right himself. He went off his Solomon, he went off his Adam. He came and showed us how to get it right. He showed us that path, showed us that way. I just want to read an account about Solomon because, Solomon lacked that discipline. Solomon had a lot of things. Solomon lacked that discipline. See, Jake, we don't got nothing down here. And Jake still lacked discipline. Jake still lacked faith, right? But I should read this real fast. Book of Sirach 47, started verse 12, right? So it says, after him rose up a wise son, and for his sake he built at large. It's talking about Solomon, right? Which one King David's son Solomon, right? It says Solomon reigned in a peaceful time and was honored. For Yahweh made all quiet round about him, that he might build a house in his name for a sanctuary forever. How wise was thou in thy youth, as a flood filled with understanding, like you said, Solomon was wise, he was smart, right? He says, thou soul covered the whole earth, and thou fills it with dark parables. Thy name went far to the island, and for thy people that was beloved, right? Because people was coming all over to see the kingdom, right? So, Solomon was, popular in sin, right? He could sing, he was talented in many ways, smart, right? It says, the countries marveled at thee for thy songs and proverbs and parables and interpretation, right? It said, by the name of the Lord Yahweh, which is called the Lord power of Israel, right? It said, thou didst gather gold as tin, didst multiply silver as lead. Thou didst bow thy loins unto this how he went out. He said, thou didst bow thy loins unto women, and by thy body thou was brought unto subjection. Thou didst stain thy honor and pollute thy seed, so that thou boughtest thou brought his wrath upon thy children, and was grieved for thy father. So the kingdom was divided, and out of Ephraim ruled a rebellious kingdom, right? So understand, I read it so you can see even Yahushua went off, right? So Yahushua coming back, as Yahushua went off to Solomon, he came back to Yahushua, he was perfect, right? He was perfect. So he was like, dang, when Yahushua was perfect, why he went the way he went? Right, because he didn't think it's strange in that fiery trial. He understood. This Yahushua understood the purpose of having to show us, right, that the suffering, the pain, and hardship is part of the glory that's going to be revealed. He came and showed us that, right? You know, and that's why it was many men, it was many accounts of many men who also went through those things as well, to show us that way, to show us those things, to show us that this not nothing strange. This ain't nothing that just happened to you, bro. Right? This ain't nothing that just you just going through. The men before us went through this. Yahushua was perfect. You know, you would think, now why Solomon ain't fake because Solomon Yahushua same spirit, but he went through those things, show us that suffering, pain, and hardship is part of this. It's part of the path to the kingdom, man. You know, there's no other way. There's no other way to it. Yahushua, we had everything at first, but when Adam went off, which is who Yahushua, right? It was made harder to us to show us that what now we're gonna be built up through suffering. Nobody goes out and win a championship. They don't train all year. Nobody goes out and be the best player. They ain't putting in work. They ain't grinding for. So this is our work. This is our grind. The suffering, the pain, and hardship, that fiery trial that Peter's talking about, right?
Man, brother on point. And see, the Christian church, they'll say that, oh, you know, Jesus died for you, but not understanding what he went through was literally for us. Like he literally went through these things. Show us, hey, you can do it. If I went through it here, which the Lord say, I have already overcame the world. All right, be of good cheer, man.
Wow.
So the Lord went through everything he went through for the nation of Israel. Okay?
Right. My burden, take my burden is light. Let me paraphrase what is that? Oh yeah, Matthew 11. Matthew 11 and start verse 28. See how it's y'all talk. He said, "Come unto me, all you that labor and are heavy laden, I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me." Because how I went through these things, he faced these things, you know, right? He says, "For I am meek and lowly in heart, and shall find rest to your souls. For my yoke is easy, my burden is light." Because how I went through, he already saw, he showed us, man, this ain't nothing, man. Also, Paul called it what you say for our light affliction, but for a moment. Even Paul called it light affliction. And this ain't nowhere near compared to the kingdom what's in front of us. Right? This ain't nowhere near compared to that. You know? Right? So I'm gonna get back to this. I'm gonna get back to this. Second Thessalonians, right? Back in verse 2 again, it says, but whenever it is in the NLT, it says, pray to it will be rescued from wicked and evil people, for not everyone is a believer. But the Lord Yahweh is faithful, he will strengthen you and guard you from the evil one. Right? That's give me a second. The wrong one. I wanted that. First Thessalonians. Okay, it's like First Thessalonians chapter. I would say Thessalonians chapter. First Thessalonians chapter. Right? Starting at verse 1, it says, "Finally, we couldn't stand it no longer. We decided to stay alone in Athens, and we sent Timothy to visit you." As I was mentioning, right? So Paul wrote a letter through. He sent it through Timothy, right, to the Israelites, right? He said, and we sent Timothy to visit you. He is our brother and Yahweh's co-worker and proclaiming the good news of Yahweh. We sent him to strengthen you, to encourage you in your faith. He said, and to keep you from being shaken by the troubles you were going through. But you know that we are destined for such troubles, right? So these troubles, he said, we are destined for these things, right? Like Paul telling me, said, even while we were with you, we warned you that the troubles would soon come, right? And they did, as you well know. That is why when I could bear it no longer, I sent Timothy to find out whether your faith was still strong. And I was afraid that the tempter, right? Who was that tempter? The devil, Satan, right? He said that tempter had gotten the best of you and that our work had been useless. Right. So Paul said now, because he's like, man, we gotta see what's up. Cause I know that tempter devil to Satan, right? But he probably be known. Like let's see where they face stand. Right? Let's go see where they stand up at. Right? Because Paul telling these guys, right? He said in Philippians chapter 3, he said, many are standing strong by speaking on the name of the Lord, by the affliction of my bond. Seeing the things I go through, seeing the things I face. Many are ready to speak about you. How about y'all saying that I'm going through not getting locked up. People want to kill you. I'm going through these things. And I haven't quit. I haven't gave up. Because who showed us that first? How was shot. You had many men who went through these things suffering. What they do, they kept the faith to the end. Right? Well, we were end up with verse 6, right? Actually, verse 7. It says, but now Timothy, has just returned, bringing us good news about your faith and love. He reports that you always remember our visit with joy, that you want to see us, must want to see you. So we have been greatly encouraged in the midst of our troubles and suffering, dear brothers and sisters, because you have remained strong in your faith, right? That's what it is, right? It said it gives us new life to know that you are standing firm in the Lord. That's what you got to stand firm in the Lord, right? Because this he writing it to them because this is well as he want to be right. We going through these things as well. I'm coming to see where y'all face stand at, right? That's why two greater than one, you got to console with a brother, talk to a brother. When you going through hardship, you going through pain, now you can talk to a brother, right? That's why that's why we all it's all working the same spirit. It's one team. We the family. We the one body, man. Everybody play a role. Everybody play a role in this movie that y'all about y'all trying to set up. We all play a role in it, right? And if you certain things you might have faced or you might be going through right now, you got elders who probably done went through it and faced it. I was just watching. I was watching one elder video. He was speaking about like how when he was younger, or he was going like a lot of baby mama drama things. That's up. That hit me in the spirit. He did it. I'm like, dang, yeah, I just got to hang on. You know what I'm saying? Like really, like it just boosts you up. Like I was speaking, I talked about it one time at camp, but how it hit me by Elder Pastor Hart. They was talking about something, right? I know how like going through that with my child mother, right? I was thinking, man, I don't know, man. Y'all, Elder Pastor Hart was like, man, I remember when I woke up myself, I was looking at it, I was like, oh, what I went through. These men, these men, I did less on it, right? Because it just shows, look, these things.
That's why Scripture said they cannot strain. Everybody going through
the same thing,
That's
man.
why Scripture said, to paraphrase it, endure all things for the elect's sake. All right, so you got to understand that the things we're enduring for those of the hopefully elect, man. Right? A lot of times the Lord don't push you through things because of you. All right, he put you through something. All right, to prove his point. All right, to show his strength, his power, man.
These men, like I say, that's why you got to be humble, right? You got to be. That's why First Peter chapter 5 it talks about it. They talk about being humble, submit yourself to an elder, right? Because they were putting like the brother said, he was going to get Hawashai. That's why also referring back to Philippians chapter 3 verse 17, but Paul also said, he said, mark the men walk after me, use them as an example, because why those men mark a path after Hawashai, right? So the suffering, pain, they hardship they face as well. Right, you use them as an example because why? Those men keeping the faith, even as they're going through these suffering, pain, and hardship. So you can look upon them. I'm thinking, I'm like, dang. Even Elder Pastor Hart talking about, how rough he was when he was young. Look at the stature strong man. Paul was killing. He was really killing people, right? But guess what? Turned out to a righteous man because why he kept the faith. They don't got to understand you how Shaw got the power to, transform that. He can turn you from this to that. He can make you from something to nothing to something, from nothing to something. He can do that. But it's about keeping the faith. Like the brother mentioned earlier, you can have a lot. The Most High can take it from you, right? You can have nothing. The Most High can give you a lot, right? But you got to understand, it's never of your account each time to bash him or turn away from him. Right, referring back to Proverbs chapter 30 again, though. You don't want to get too high, you don't want to get too low. Let's take the Lord's name in vain. Right? You get too high, you think you don't need the Most High. You get too low, now you want to go ahead and steal the rob, do what you got to do to maintain. Now you want to stay that disbalance, that thorn in the flesh, that fiery trial. It's going to keep you at that balance. So I got to go harder in the faith of the truth. Right? I got to pray more. Right? A lot of Jay don't even pray that. Y'all, I got to pray more. Let me go talk to the brother.
Just to back your head, what Jay don't understand. And most I put you in a position where you gotta pray. Like you make, like he said, brothers don't even pray. Most I put your ass in a position because it's like who is gonna call? It's like in certain situations you can't call now for one and say, hey, well, my life turned out, or shit, or I lost this over here, my back hurt. You can't call now and say no shit like that. You gotta call on the Lord for certain things, man. Or like you like the brotherhood.
I read this real fast. Book of Sirach. It's like Ecclesiastes. Chapter 4, verse 9, verse 10, verse 9 and 10, so like Brother Hadagar put on the board. It says, two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. Verse 10 says, for if they fall, one will lift up his fellow, but woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he have not another to help him up. Even a perfect example, how you just use like with the light bill and whatnot. You got to build such, right? Even referring back to the elders, right? It was on one. Lets it was a guy walking by. I don't know his name. I think he doing the other. He was at the other camp or the other Now, the elders be right there, they have the other over there.
Right, bro.
Yeah, he was walking over there to it, right? And he was explaining, like, yeah, man, I'm late. Oh, he's talking about how he late, you know, because his car messed up one night. And Empire Heart asked him, lately, you know, how much did it be to get fixed? You know, and he was told him about Empire Heart, like, you know, come to the house after this, I look out for you. Right? Just the account, like, he ain't doing it just, he doing it because he's a righteous man and we stand with each other, right? Because two are greater than one. When he fall, and you ain't gotta go out, you ain't gotta move this, do this, and that. You ain't gotta move type of guy. We got you. You can call on the brothers, right? And during these times, we're gonna have to call on each other, because everybody gonna have different gifts. Certain brothers might be good at 100, certain brothers might be good at this. So when we out in the wilderness, going, run, get away from Esau, think that's certain brothers, like we talk about the spiritual powers when they're here at camp. Certain brothers might have the object to heal. That's why you have about y'all have brothers in different avenues. You might have some brothers who are dark, they know how to do certain things, sew, stitch up, right? So it's different talents, but all the same spirit. That's why during these times we got to stand together in faith, right? Let's see, increase you put up. I want to grab that Matthew 12, verse, I think it's around about verse 50. It says, just for the outside, like your mother desire to talk to you. Now, this book of Ecclesiasticus from the brother Hadabior, verse 30, chapter 37, verse 12 says, be continually with the godly man, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord, whose mind is according to thy mind, and with sorrow with thee, if thou shalt. It's scary, right? Because you got to understand, you don't want to be around Jake mindset. You don't want to be around no wicked ass brother, something happened, right? Let's go get him, boy. We got to go get him right now. Or, man, boy, rent, dude, we're going to go do that. So I go raw this. You don't want to be around people like that. You want to surround yourself around righteous men, how about you outside, bro? You really do, especially during these times, right? When judgment going out rapidly. You don't want to be around the wrong crowd. You want to be around the righteous men, how about you outside, right? So when you hit rock bottom, the brother can reach his hand up and lift you up, but it's all through the spirit. You might call the brother, the Most High put the spirit on that man. When 2 months got to my name, I'm there. Most High might put the spirit on that man and tell you exactly what to do to get out of that situation. Right?
This is Matthew. I started 46. Matthew 12 and 46, and it reads, it says, while he yet talked to the people, behold, his mother and his brethren stood without, desiring to speak with him.
Now, this is actual like mother and his brother, right? His real family.
Blood.
His blood.
It says, then one said unto him, behold, thy mother and thy brethren stand without, desiring to speak with thee. It says, but he answered and said unto him, that told him, who is my mother and who are my brethren? 49, he stretched forth his hand toward his disciple and said, behold, my mother and my brethren. For whosoever do the will of my Father which is in heaven, same as my brother and sister, mother.
So this the family, right? So two great, we got to stand together, right? During these times, right? This the family, right? Remember, the scriptures tell you that what? Brother gonna give up, mother gonna give up, son, father gonna, that family, but they gonna turn on you. They ain't the truth. They not your family, right? So during these times, you want to stand with like brothers put it, you want to stand with godly men, right? Maybe how about y'all shop, right? Because these are the ones who gonna uplift you in the way of the how about y'all shop, not in the way of the world. You gotta understand that too. You might have a wise guy in the world, right? He lift you up in the world. He said, always talking about how you get money. Well, you should get in the tree, you should do this and that. That's cool. That's cool and all, right? But you want to make them lift you up through the spirit of poverty. How about y'all shop, man? Right? Raise you up in the righteous way, right? Raise you up in the way, like in a sense, like this fancy. I was talking to my uncle, right? Example, he was talking to me about, refer back to it again, like about how my children were not. He just be like, yeah, I got a son. I don't talk to them most. I'm just thinking like he's trying to tell me that sometimes you got to cut them off. Like, hold on, this ain't just.
Hey.
Yeah, I know you trying to give me advice that work for you, but I don't know. I'm like,
got a point though.
Yeah, he got a point. But he's like. Tell him like I'm just pray on it. I'm just pray y'all about y'all shot. What it's set to be and what it's gonna be. And I understand the fact of hey, he's trying to build. I'm like, that's you understand that's part of Esau's plan right there. To separate cause so much affliction to separate the son from the father, right? Use the mother. Right. Yeah, if this in the will be how about y'all shot, nah, it ain't gonna, but other than that, how about y'all shot gonna allow it to go how it's supposed to go, right? We not ignorant devices. See, the women might think you mad at them. Sometimes I'm telling I'm like, nah, she thinks she getting me by 09, but I know it. Over time, how about y'all gonna work his move? Right? This part of Satan. Right? He want another YN running around here talking about how they ain't never been enough for him. He never had no man. It's like, nah, bro, I'm right here, right? But you have that. That's that. You don't keep the faith. Basically, what I'm saying is, I'm to keep faith. I know the will be how about Shao Shai. That's what it's gonna be, right? In the city. So I think that girl put another one. Simple there.
I got some Jeremiah over here. But you got some later.
Okay, I was gonna read the brother the night word. Come on, 1 Corinthians 3:19. Come, right? It says, for the wisdom of this world is foolishness with the hour, right? For it is written, he taketh the wise their own craftsmen. Right, verse 20 says, and again, the Lord knoweth the thoughts. He said, for the Lord knoweth the thoughts. Oh, here, man. For the Lord knoweth the thoughts of the wise, that they are vain, right? Because that's why I say you have men who are wise in the world might try to use a worldly strategy to get out of the situation, but now that ain't what we do, right? Men goes of the Lord, right? Let the Lord direct our thoughts, our ways, right? Your heart might make you feel that something is right for you to do. Your heart might feel like it's something is right, feel like oh, this feels good. I should do this because it's peaceful unto you. But that's part of some type of pain you're gonna go through. We're gonna go through women being against that's in the scripture, right? Isaiah 3 and 12, right? When it says children rule over thee, right? Women over these things that we're gonna face go through. But through the spirit of power, how about y'all shop? You go through keeping that faith, but you got what do you say? You got faith must see, you can tell them about what to move, man. Right? But
And just to add on, man, just to back up further, men, only men are called to be in the truth. All right, women and children of course, they can keep the law, statutes, and commandments. All right, they can listen to videos as far as dealing with the Most High is dealing with men. All right, the Most High is chastising men. All right, meaning that chastisement for that man falls on the women and the children. All right, and meaning again, the man is the head, so the instruction comes to what? The man, right? So again, the Lord is not calling back just men. All right, he's dealing with men. He's calling back the nation as a whole. He's calling not as a whole, but the elect. All right, and the elect is men, women, and children. All right.
that wouldn't be much, but most high he's dealing with what do you say? You go through that word children. I think it's the word Bunyan, if I'm not mistaken, in Hebrew is son. Also, we went to the word children in Hebrew is son, right? So we say you're children of the Yahweh outside, meaning sons of Yahweh outside. He dealing with his sons, so the instruction goes through, like you said, his sons, the prophets are men, teachers are men. Women don't teach, women don't supposed to teach. Not in our nation, the laws, community, how about outside there, but women don't supposed to teach, right? So he's
Even amongst your family, or like your mother, your brother, stuff like that. The Lord may only call you. All right. Well, like you said, you have a wife and children. The Lord may only give you that understanding. All right, and that's a burden in itself. All right, here you got this understanding, but you dealing with a woman who listens. Even she listens to Sexy Red.
yeah.
All right, and your child, he playing GTA all day, whatever it may be.
That's why, Elder Pastor Walsh doing this like this, remember yourself, man. That's why, as men of the house by Shion Shot, it's supposed to put our foot down and put the order in the household. Right? This household, hey, Paul said to Corinthians, if you have a woman who unbelieve, you don't gotta put her off. But just don't, just don't let her ways, deter you from your house by Shion Shot. But as men, we set that standard, set that example. It's a light shine forth. When they see you changing and seeing the person you becoming, right? See how the Lord dealing with you, right? Yeah, you go through hardships and pain, but you keeping the faith, you stand strong, right? They always wondering how you made it way, how you doing this and that, right? That's how a lot of men, you hear a lot of sons that how they father like, man, I respect my dad, and my dad always he did this, that. That's how he's supposed to set the example into the household, to the youth, to the children, That's why you have watching outside, Elder Pastor Clark brought out earlier. That's why he said watchmen. We know watchmen we're supposed to go that trumpet, get a warning, let people know, right? On how he can byway set the standard, right? Raise that banner over that high mountain. Supposed to set the standard, be how about saying outside, out to the world. Because it been what's that word where it's been looted, man. The standard behind Bashing outside has been looted. They had put all these things on it. The standard behind Bashing outside is at the bottom right now. But we gotta bring it up. We gotta wave that banner. This Bible, this truth. Let them know that hey, this is the right way to do it. All right.
Hey, Todd, how you doing? And just to add on, even now, dealing with the fathers, man, because that's a big thing in Israel. That's how Esau really got us by spiritual own. But even now we have spiritual fathers. We have spiritual uncles. All right, we have a spiritual family. All right, so we listen to the apostles. These are spiritual fathers. All right, these are spiritual grandfathers. All right, because these men they own to be our fathers, not grandfathers.
Got a quick example, a point there, right? That I like use Timothy, right? You know, Timothy's father was going out, he was in that hellish mindset, you know, so Paul had to grab him up, be that spiritual father, be that spiritual guidance to him, right? It's very simply, I guess scripture point chapter 2 said unto Timothy, my son in the faith, right? My son in the faith, right? Like, but say, one of the, Elder Pastor Barbie doing his live lesson on Sundays, like a bunch of the elder brothers and a bunch of other apostles they join in and whatnot. And one of the brothers got on there speaking about, and me and how that goes on this side as well, like we don't idolize the elder, ultimately, it's just the fact of like these are a strong stature man, how about y'all shop? And it's like when we grow, we want to grow in the truth, right? To grow up into the truth, how they are. They let that light shine for them. Right, we want to let our light shine for what they pushing out. We look to these righteous men, how about y'all shop, right? And they're doing a lot of lessons doing. So it's basically like they been that father that guides unto us right now, right? Which we know is all through the spirit of probably how about you outside. They showing us that way, showing us that aspect. Remember, like going to title in hand, two are greater than one in these times, right? Just this example, like the spirit so heavy that you might be facing some. You get on the YouTube, watch the lesson, the elders talk about that, right? The elders going into that subject, speaking on that, right? Because they're that spiritual God, that father in the faith, that why he said once again, he says unto Timothy, right, my son, in the faith, grace and mercy be from Yahweh our Father, Yahweh Shah, our Lord and Savior, because ultimately that's the first order. Everything we do, we give honor and glory to Yahweh Shah, Shah, right? The understanding that Yahweh Shah set up those elders, set up those watchmen, right? Once again, Peter talked about it in chapter 5, right? He said, you are elders in the church, watch over the flock, which Yahweh Shah has appointed unto you, right?
Just to back up the point, this is Jeremiah 3 and I'll start at verse 14. It says, turn back, O backsliding children, saith the Lord, for I am married unto you, and I will take you one of a city and two of a family. I will bring you to Zion, and I will give you passages unto my heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. It says, and it shall come to pass, when ye be multiplied and increased in the land, in those days, said the Lord, they shall say no more, thou art the ark of the covenant of the Lord, neither shall they come to mind, neither shall they remember it, neither shall they visit it, neither shall they be done anymore. So we coming to a point where ultimately, man, the Lord is choosing. All right, the Lord is picking and choosing. All right, so you can't be offended when your brother don't get chosen, or your uncle don't get chosen, or your cousin don't get chosen, because again, they'll have a time for that, but right now the Lord is dealing with specifics, right? That's why again, I'm like to tell that again. Two is better than one at this time, right? At this time.
Like, once again, we're back to the elder, Elder Apostle Paul is speaking on this, he's speaking on how, how we all similar. It was like basically like rejected from the world. We came to truth anyway. Like you have this similar brother, even though you've been in the truth in the right way. When y'all talking about your backstory of how before you came to the truth, you realize like hey, you my brother for real. Because understanding what, right? These spirits have been chosen for worlds you created. Right? It ain't nothing new in the sun, reincarnation. These are the same spirits. How about y'all have to deal with from the beginning? So now we just coming into that, what the spirit said, I will bring into remembrance. We just coming into that remembrance, man, and returning back to that way. He's good. It could. These are our, because these could be your uncle and son, right? It could be that, right? It could be that. And also, lead you through that way. To lead you through that way through he's once again these elders, these men set up, right, to show that righteous path on the righteous way, going back to Yahweh Shai, the men who follow Yahweh Shai, right? Use them as an example, to show you that way, show you that path. Because in these times, if you walking alone, right, man, you gonna be when you fall, ain't gonna be nothing to help. Right? And you have these men who done face these things before you, right? These men ain't in the truth just for no reason. These men have faced these things before you, right? So therefore, when you got somebody who call on to tell you like, hey, yeah, but I faced that as well. You should do X, Y, and Z, right? you look into them as respect. You look into them as like what they call it in the world, like mentors, right? Call it mentors in the world, right? You right? Maybe I forgot who or experience was about how Paul had a mentor. I think it's in Acts, where Acts chapter 5, right? But even Paul had a mentor, man. They had to teach them teaching those things, right? You have a mentor. Nobody's alone. Like, whether it's a brother, whether it's one of the elders, the apostles, you have a mentor. You never it ain't no way you out here walking alone in the truth. Yeah, about y'all shop. Because it's gonna get to a point where you gonna need a brother. You don't know everything. You don't got it all, right? Everything things you're learning. How about y'all shots using the elders and teaching them to you, right? He's using them and teaching them to you, right? So there's no need for you to get knowledge, understanding, to be by yourself. Nah, stay with the family. Stay a part of the one body.
It's a precept that say that. I forget where it said. Worth the paraphrase. I think it's dealing with Elijah and
Right, Elijah.
yeah, he said, how shall I understand except some man teach me? He said, do you understand without readers? So like you said, man, yeah, for years, what we went to church, we read the Bible, we read what Philippians 4:13, and we thought we understood the Bible, but here it is, we still understand the Bible, right?
You see the tree or something, man. But ain't got you go to you go to
Real quick, I'm gonna grab Zephaniah then. Just to back up, because you was like, was basically saying how a lot of brothers got the same backstory, man. All right, a lot of brothers were rejected from the world, but the same way. So this is Zephaniah 2 and verse 1. It says, gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, they should not desire. Talking about the elect, all right, because what? The elect are outcast in this world. All right, the elect are what? Those black sheep of the family, right? So the elect are those ones rejected because what? They didn't do what mama said, or they didn't do what daddy said, or they didn't cleave to the family tradition or whatever it may be, right?
So you the outcast, man. There's the outcast, and everybody, speaking down. You your whole life, you trying to figure out what's going on the whole time. You've been set apart.
You chose the whole time. You chose.
You feel like you alone. So now you come in this walk. Guess what? At these times, two are greater than one. Now you got those two to help you understand who you are as well. Even as bodies, as one body. Because remember, how about y'all shop? We build each other up, right? We build each other up through the faith, right? Through scripts, through talking to brothers, things that such. This is what counts, like, in group chat, brothers saying precept. We uplift each other, right? We uplift each other. That's the point of us being together during these times. Can't let because it's tough times ahead. It's tough times coming, right? It's very tough times coming. Things gonna get heavy on the band. How about y'all shot? But it's for us to stand together. When it's too heavy, lean on me, right? So, you got an account, right? This is Acts chapter 8, right? And I started verse 20. I started verse 25. It says, I started verse 25, right? It said, and when they had testified and preached the word of the Lord, returned to Jerusalem and preached the gospel in many villages of the Samaritans. It says that the angel of the Lord spake to Philip, saying, arise and go toward the south unto the way that thou goest down from Jerusalem unto Gaza, which is desert. And he arose and went, and behold, a man of Ethiopia, and he knew of great authority under Candace, queen of Ethiopians, who had the charge of all her treasure, and had come to Jerusalem for to worship, was returning and sitting in the chariot, read Isaiah's prophet. So Isaiah was sitting there reading, right? He said, then the Spirit said unto Philip, go near and join thyself to this chariot. And Philip ran thither to him and heard him read the prophet Isaiah, Isaiah, and said, understandest not what thou readest. And he said, how can I expect some man should guide me? And he desired Philip that he would come and sit with him. Right? So these men had men who showed these things, right? These men, you have men, that's why you have men, everybody understanding everybody on the same level. So you gotta like once again, referring to Peter, 1 Peter 5 again, you gotta exalt, you gotta be humble. Switch yourself to an elder. And then when it's time for you to come up, Yahweh shall raise you up. You might have somebody come under you. then we have to be that guy. It's up to them, right? It's all order, but it's all the same spirit working it's all one order, but it's all working through the same spirit, man. Everything working through you. How about you? Everything done in decent order. It's all set up in the way he said it to go, right? But you come out and think you more than what you is. You thinking you don't need nobody, or thinking you got it all to yourself, thinking you can save yourself. No, man, right? Just hearing how the elders be on the MOTB heavy, right here. How the elders be doing less on them, keep you on point, right? You know, if you ain't studying, if you ain't studying, or you out here thinking that you got it all, turn the children to the fathers, man. Right? He using these things, and that's for us to stand together and push his word, push his truth. Right? We all linked in arms, man. Like it's all how you see you trying to do it, how you walking up and down the streets, beating
Oh,
like,
yeah.
we ain't doing all that, but we standing together in that sense.
And see, that's what brothers understand. That's why, through the spirit, like you said, you're a body, man. Like you said, it may be a brother miles and miles away. You never seen the brother, you never heard the brother's voice. Y'all brothers, y'all going through the same thing. All right, y'all talking about the same things. How about your shop? All right, y'all get up at the same time and go to work. Right? So
And it's like you have that. It's like seeing men. Okay, how about you outside the truth? Is like, man, you got that brotherly love for him. Like,
yeah,
Shalom,
you got your
yeah, Shalom,
Shalom.
even though you know, see these men. We see, you got brothers in Connecticut. You got brothers and you got brothers all over.
Brothers Hawaii, man.
Hawaii, right? But it's Shalom, because we together, right? We together. If I could get there, you ever call, we ever had a cross path where we come to help because we all stand firm. Y'all by y'all shot. It's that bring it to remembrance to, hey man, hey, we have that discernment. She like, man, this a true brother. He got me like I got him through the spirit problem. How about y'all shot? In these times, you're gonna have men of the elect who you never even knew before. They might come save you before the family member that do something for you, right? But I want to read that. I'm going to say that one body real fast. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 12, right? And I started verse 4. It says, now there are diversity of gifts, but the same spirit. And there are differences of administration, but the same Lord. And there are diversities of operation, but the same power was working in all. But the manifestation of the spirit is given to every man to profit withal, right? Because everybody's given a certain gift, certain spirit. It's for you to get out and work your talent, right? It says, for one is given by the spirit the word of wisdom, to another the word of knowledge by the same spirit, to another faith by the same spirit, to another the gifts of healing by the same spirit, to another the working of miracles, to another prophecy, to another discerning of spirits, to another diversity kinds of tongues, to another the interpretation of tongues. And you see, everybody's giving different gifts, different talents, where it all working all working through the same spirit, the same power, right? Here's a point, verse 11 and 12, right? That's going on verse 14, from 11 through 14 the point. It says, but all these work of that one in the self same spirit, dividing every man severally as he will. For as the body is one, it hath many members. All the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also is Yahweh Shah, because we're one body in one. That's why Yahweh Shah say what? It's better for you to be mammon than to go into hell, which is referring to discretion that's gonna come upon Babylon the Great, the fight discretion and chariot, right? But it's better to get rid of that. If a brother slacking or a brother ain't, it's better to get rid of that because he can hurt the body. He can cause that spread. But like cancer, if you got a cancer in one spot, they gonna take that spot out, right? You got a poison one, you gonna take that spot out, right? Because it's all one body. How about you house out? We stand together. It's one, right? It says, for by one spirit we are all baptized into one body, whether we be Jews or Gentiles, referring to what? Gentiles are the Israelites in the foreign state of mind, talking with the other nations. So whether we be bond or free, have been all made to drink to the one spirit, right? Close it out, right? It says, for the body is not one member, but many. So two are greater than one in these times. It's not just one, man. It's many members of this truth. Even if you stand alone, you can be hurting another brother because it could be something. How about y'all shot? A gift he giving you that you should be spreading amongst the other brothers that they might need. So two are greater than one, but we all work in one body. We all one body working the same spirit, man. Different gifts within it.
All right. With that, man, we close it out, giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to the Most High. Double honors to the apostles, brothers, great millstones, shalom, and shalom to the hopefully met.
Shalom, shalom.